want to take a moment to welcome everyone to the Watch This Shit podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. My name is Seneca, the movie professor. With this podcast, we're going to give you the definitive decision on whether you should go see a new movie or not. It's real easy. If we say, watch this shit, go out and enjoy some good cinema. If we say, don't watch this shit, avoid it as you would having someone randomly walk in as you say the best part of the Ghostbusters theme song. Or don't. You can do what you want. It may be fun, or it may end up in you having to explain in what context does busting make you feel good. You don't want to listen to us, you put your life in your own hands. The horse is dead and has been beaten long past its expiration date. Hollywood does not want to produce new ideas. They would rather keep going in circles with the same formulas and properties that worked over 30 years ago. We call it lazy, referring to me and my ilk. But as long as they are able to make money on the time when movies made people feel as good as busting does, they're going to keep reviving the corpses of these dead franchises and setting them loose in the streets to bite innocent moviegoers. Sometimes this can create a film that is surprisingly well made, as in Ghostbusters Afterlife. And other times, well, let's talk about it as we discuss the sequel to that film, which is a continuation of a series of movies that was rebooted, then that was thrown in the trash in order for a requel to be conceived. Today, we will discuss Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Don't Cross the Streams on Ice. We are going to be generous and call what we see in this movie a story. The daughter and grandchildren of one of the original 4 Ghostbusters, along with the guy that the matriarch of the family picked up in the last movie, have not only moved into the old Ghostbusters headquarters, but also picked up the job of busting the shit out of the ghosts. We still don't know how this organization is funded. Don't ask too many questions. Maybe they have a grant, whatever. The youngest child has a crisis when the city attempts to shut down the team because she's on the team and she's a minor. She is benched and unhappy. Meanwhile, in the background, there's a problem with the system that controls the ghost containment unit. A little bit further in the background, the youngest child is befriending / maybe romantically involved with a ghost girl who could quite possibly have ulterior motives to their relationship that will allow her to move on to the afterlife. Yet another plot sees a human gain the power of fire, which is pivotal for the team to win the final battle. All while hundreds of callbacks to the original movies are squeezed in, shoehorned into the film. Oh, we didn't cover the antagonists. Guess what? Neither did they. Way in the back, in the cheap seats, too far to see, there's a plot that sees an ancient evil reawaken with the power to freeze people using their fears. Will all these things blend together to make a watchable movie? Or will the legs give out on this shit under the sheer weight of so much rubbish being piled on top of it? I'm not even gonna hold you. It's the second one. They tried to do way too much and not put enough into any of these one things to make this movie even close to good. The previous one, Ghostbusters Afterlife, it was busy, but it had a constant through line that was the central focus of the film. Here, whole ass cast members get lost. At one point, I forgot Paul Rudd was in this film. That's bad. If one of your most likable actors is an afterthought, you are in trouble. He's on this thing like he's the face of the team, the new face of the franchise, but he barely has anything to do. So, maybe we can rely on Stranger Things kid to pick up the slack. Nope. He is in 3 scenes with a Slimer that are so unconnected to the plot that they would have been better served as a web series leading up to the film and not in the damn movie. Maybe as bonus material on the Blu-ray, but not in the damn movie. Maybe a comic, short film, or animated series, but again, not in the damn movie. Spangler's daughter doesn't have anything to do outside of every now and then trying to make Paul Rudd help her raise her kids. The daughter is the one that has the most makings of an actual arc. But that arc is so boring and such a non-factor that by the end of the film, you will be hard-pressed to remember anything that she was doing. Shit, you'll have a hard time remembering what any of these people were doing. The movie tells you right from the opening scene. They didn't have any solid ideas. There is a secret organization meeting somewhere in the past. They have gained access to an ancient artifact that houses an evil entity. They, of course, fuck with the orb and it unleashes an explosion of ice age temperatures that freeze the entire group. The orb is in the hands of one of the frozen people. Then it cuts to the Ghostbuster opening title scene. No, no, that was a non-setup setup. The way I explained it is better than it came across in the actual acting out on the screen. They thought they would be able to get by on the old musical cues from the first two films. Their hope was that the cameos would get them through this thing without actually having to tell a decent story. At one point, the jerk from the first film that tried to shut the team down, he shows up. He's still alive? He's still in the same position he was in the 80s? He's still a jerk? He's still dealing with the Ghostbusters? What the fuck is going on here? No, we did not step out of a time machine into the future and everything was exactly like it was in the past. That's fucking stupid. Where is the progression? What were these characters doing between films? Nothing. They didn't have lives. They were just waiting on us to see them again before they began moving. The same thing with the dude in the library. Same damn employee in the same damn job doing the same damn shit. That's not a callback. That's lazy. That's what your toys do when you're not playing with them. They just lay there. They don't have any agency. It's not like a Toy Story situation going on where they're having little adventures. They treated this like these humans were toys and were not moving until we came back to see them. Okay. The one positive, the one positive I can name is that Winston Zedmore, the only black Ghostbuster and the only one that was not a scientist, has rose to prominence between films. He is some sort of corporate mogul off the back of his ghost fighting career. Now, don't think that I don't understand what I'm talking about because he did have progression, but his progression was made last movie. So he doesn't count as one of the figures that were just standing still, but he was definitely standing still between last movie and this movie. Anyway, I don't understand it, but I'm at least happy he became more than he initially was. It has been joked about, mocked, but it's still a point of contention for me. While I love the original movie, I do not like that the one member of the team that is not white is the only one that is not a scientist. He just walked in off the street. Hey, y'all need another guy? Cool, I'm in. What? That's not how any of this would work. I know the character went through rewrites because they didn't get their initial guy for the role. They courted Eddie Murphy, but that didn't work out because his star took off and he didn't have time to do that shit. But still, why do we always have to treat the brother like an afterthought? Oh, and just because they tell us he is more important in the world of the film does not mean he gets to do anything important. None of the original cast is well used. They are all glorified cameos. They were better used in the brief moment they had in the previous movie than in these sporadic scenes they have in this one. I just don't know what the point was. If it was to say that the cast was giving their blessing to the film, that's not even original. They always do. All you have to do is give these boys a check and they are there. They were in the 2016 reboot as well. All of them said, yeah, we'll agree to this. I know I'm in the minority, but I really didn't mind that movie that much. The thing that I did have a problem with, I still had a problem with the way they treated Leslie Jones. Again, the only black person on the team and the only one is not a scientist. But the team on the film made me laugh a few times, and that's really what I expected from it. The absolute weakest point in this movie was the antagonist. The ghost, demon, entity, whatever it was that was trapped in the orb, had no motivation or discernible traits that made it interesting. It was just a force that was created to give the protagonist something to battle against. There were hints that a story could have been interesting around this monster. The other ghosts were all fearful of it and willing to do its bidding. But there was never a point where we understood why they were afraid. They just were. And that's just not good enough to create a narrative. I paid attention the entire time and found myself zoning out because nothing interesting was happening. I love movies because it is a time I use to turn off my thoughts and venture into a world someone else created. Here, I couldn't stop thinking about my workday because I was not entertained. Even when I watch bad films, I at least get to escape from the stress of life for a moment. This movie refused to give me any respite from the battles I had been fighting all week. For that, I won't forgive it. For this weak ass antagonist, I won't forgive it. Maybe it had a couple cool powers because it could freeze things. That's not enough. That's not a character. That's a scene. Final verdict. Don't watch this shit. There is nothing interesting here. Nothing was done to set it aside from anything that came before. It, in fact, leaned too heavily on what came before with all the callbacks and nods to the original material without doing anything with the story we are currently watching. Go see the original Ghostbusters movie. That one is still fantastic. They have never been able to recapture the magic in any of the sequels, reboots, or requels. Even Ghostbusters 2 couldn't live up to the original. Afterlife was okay, but pales in comparison to that first film. I hope this is it. Let this franchise die. Freaking somebody hit it with the proton pack beam, put it in a trap, put it in a containment unit, and just forget about it because it's dead. It's dead. Let the franchise end before it gets to be as big of a joke as the Fast and Furious one. Thank you for listening to another episode of Watch This Shit. You come here for the realest take on new movies. So make sure you follow us so you're not left in the dark on whether you should check out a new movie or not. If you haven't seen this shit yet, go on about your life. Don't even worry about it. Matter of fact, you're doing good. Damn, you're doing good. Check us out next time when we review Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. And good day to you.